In today's episode, I'll be giving my review and reaction to the movie The Devil's Advocate, released in 1997. So let's dive into The Devil's Advocate.
Do something, man. People are questioning you. Shut up. Shut up. Okay, yep, do that. Sure, guys. Stupid and dumb. Just an idiot. Get your shit together, son. Fuck it. I loved it. Welcome to the Dub Cast.
The Devil's Advocate was released in October 7th, released on October 17th, 1997. The genre of this film is a supernatural horror film, which not really seeing the horror version of it, if I'm being honest. Runtime 2 hours 24 minutes. Budget was $57 million. Director is Taylor Hackford, who I looked at his work. I've never watched any of his films before. It stars Keanu Reeves, Al Pacino, Charlize Theron, Jeffrey Jones, Judith Ivey, and Craig T. Nelson. So this will be the first movie review that I'm switching the format. I'm getting rid of the spoiler and non-spoiler plot synopsis. Just feel like that became pretty obsolete. It was maybe obsolete this whole time, and I've just been blind, but I don't feel the need for it anymore. With that being said, full spoilers ahead. We will be going to the spoilers of this movie, so if you don't want to be spoiled in this movie, back out. But if you're here, you most likely have watched the movie already. So the new format will be I'll give my review, give the score, and then go into thoughts and reactions throughout the film. I like to keep this little intro part just to introduce some of the main players of the movies, some of the backgrounds behind it. Like, I think budget is important. I think runtime is important for people, look back on it. Genre, I guess, is kind of bullshit. But anyways, keeping that part for now, but getting into the spoiler and non-spoiler section. So that being said, let's get into my overarching review. Overall, I thought The Devil's Advocate was a pretty good movie. I thought there was really good performances from Keanu Reeves, Al Pacino, and Charlize Theron throughout. They're kind of the three main characters. They all killed it, all did an awesome job. Definitely a compelling story. I'm glad that this didn't become more like a court story and a law story, and they didn't really overdo that part of it. They kind of mixed out in like real life and other aspects, so appreciated that part for sure. Didn't want it to be like a law jargon suits type movie. And going too deep into that, I think there's only actually like 2 or 3 court cases that play out throughout the whole film, so that part I liked. I guess I don't really understand the ending of it. I think, is the devil just endlessly reaming Keanu forever? And I don't know. I mean, I think it's definitely open for interpretation. I feel like that was maybe a little bit too much, trying to make it a cool, open-ended ending, and I guess it is, but it's like, what does it mean? I like answers. Even Inception, my favorite, well, we'll see, but one of my favorite movies, you can hear the thing drop. So I like definitive endings. I do respect a good open for interpretation ending, like The Sopranos. Just feel like this one was kind of like way too open-ended. Like, I don't really know what that means, that the guy in the courthouse is him. I guess he's always just going to get reamed by vanity, and then he's looped in again, but it doesn't make sense with how he shoots himself in the head. I was lost, not going to lie. Didn't do any research, so this is just my raw reaction throughout the film. Interesting that Pacino was playing the devil, but he was kind of low-key about it throughout the whole film. Like, it wasn't really like a devil bad, red and all the demons. I mean, there are demons throughout the movie, but it's like, it's not like a in your face. It's kind of a subtle, more devil thing, and we don't really get that part of it until like the latter half of the movie. So I thought that was an interesting way to portray the devil in real life society. You never even know that he was there. I got respect for the actresses in this movie. Definitely some beautiful women. That's all I'll say about that. If you watch the movie, you know what I'm talking about. I feel like they represented the sins pretty well. Looking back on it, there's jealousy. I don't know what all the 7 sins are, sorry, but I'm pretty sure they like wrap in all of them throughout the film. And there's like that's the main theme of the movie. Definitely vanity is the most important. Obviously, that's the one that's Keanu's main sin is vanity, and that's how Pacino keeps roping him in. As we see in the last scene, he ropes him in again. I think this could be a very interesting movie to watch again, and once you know the ending, you can kind of see how everything plays out. Like, I still don't understand how the beginning connects to the end, but if I went back and watched it, I'd be looking out for that for sure. I think this would be a good movie to rewatch and understand what was actually going on, and maybe you can pick up more pieces. Obviously, you do that with every movie you rewatch, but I think this one especially could be an interesting one to rewatch and see if you can see any clues or little details you might have missed in the first time to understand the ending and understand the plot of the movie. I don't really understand the whole middle point of the story with the ending, so basically the whole movie we watched was like irrelevant, or was it a dream? Like, I don't know. I feel like that the ending kind of just makes that part less meaningful. Um, Granted, it's like 2 hours in time, so maybe it's a dream of his, but I feel like it kind of undercuts the middle of the movie. Like, what did we just watch then? If he's just gonna get him again, it's like what are we building up to? He's just gonna have him on the hook. Like, I don't know. I just felt like the ending kind of undercut the middle of the movie. Um, I also don't understand the demons that much. Like, they kind of just had a face thing, so they were all like working for Pacino. I don't know. We see the wife of the guy that introduces them. It was weird. Kind of cool, but definitely like a little bit outdated with the night. I mean, it came out in 1997, so I'm not going to dock it for that. I thought maybe it was a little too long, just a tad bit. Overall, a very good watch, though. I would recommend this to a lot of people. So I gave it an 8.2. 8.2 for The Devil's Advocate. Yeah, solid movie for sure. Feels like a low 8 to me. I liked it, but didn't like it so much that I'd be like, you have to watch this. But people are like, hey, what's a good movie that I maybe haven't seen? Devil's Advocate. You know, it could be a solid rec. So let's pull up the Dubcast graphic and compare this to the other movies we've reviewed. So this is number 17 on the Dubcast list, our 17th movie, and wow, time flies, man. Really puts it in perspective, you know. Feels like I've been doing this forever. No, I'm just kidding. So this does crack the top 5 and becomes number 5. So Devil's Advocate holding down the number 5 spot for now in the Dubcast movies. Number 5 of 17 is pretty good. And it beats out Brokeback Mountain in the 8th range by 0.1. And there's a lot of movies in the 8 range, so maybe I'm just being too generous again. I don't know. We'll see as time goes on. So let's cut out the graphic, and now on to my thoughts and reactions throughout the film. So this is where I just break down basically what I was thinking is watching the whole movie. I was on a train to New York watching this movie on stupid. The Wi-Fi was tough on the train. The Wi-Fi was really tough. It was a tough watch. So let's open it up here with Keanu, and he's I think his name's Lomax. He's talking to Mr. Geddes, or he's helping Mr. Geddes out in this case in Florida, and basically we've come to find out Mr. Geddes has been meeting with this girl who is clearly underage. Clearly, they've had interactions, and Keanu has to be the guy to be like, listen, you had these reactions and whatever, and you're valid, but didn't you lead him on and didn't you make this up? But he like has a moment where he freaks out and he like walks out of the courtroom. Bro, this is your case. How'd you not know? Like, most of the lawyers who work this shit, like the guy who's defending OJ, he knew OJ was guilty. It's like, you know that, but it's like you have to defend him to the best of your ability. Keanu's like all shocked. Like, bro, come on, get with it. Like, it's night and day here. Clearly, this guy's got something wrong with him. Just thought that was weird that he didn't know that. I mean, I guess it could be a revelation, but because the girl was on the stand, but it just felt like that was something you should have prepared for and should have known, especially if you've never lost a case before. Mr. Lomax. Anyways, so he ends up grilling the girl, which is just a bad look from a morality standpoint. This poor girl is like, I think 11 or 12 years old and singing her, like, not singing, but saying her wrongdoings against the perpetrator, Mr. Geddes, but Keanu has to cross-examine her for his side of the case, as obviously, and then the dad gets pissed off with him, tries to charge the stand, which, yeah, obviously, if that's your daughter, you got to do that. They have to be separated, but this presumably points to Lomax's side winning this case, and yeah, just like that, we win the cases. You know, even how bad they are, doesn't care, doesn't matter. The money is all that matters. The wins is all that matters for Lomax early on in this movie. So the party goes to the club in Florida. I like the University of Florida Gators bar. I want to go to the University of Florida game for a football game. Looked lit in there, so maybe I'll visit that bar they were at. Anyways, the party's going crazy. Way too much PDA. I don't know what 1997 was like. I don't even know when this movie is supposed to take place. I hope it's in the 90s, or I'm gonna sound like an idiot right now. But we're definitely some 90s, closeness and whatever. Not sure we need to see that, but I think they're just trying to show us that Lomax and his girl are like with it and very in love at this time. Obviously, they're young, attractive people, so they're gonna do what they're gonna do. He runs into a person at the bar once he's had a couple of drinks, and he's made an offer he cannot refuse from this firm in New York. And he brings it to his mom, who's a preacher at the church, and she says, "No, no, no, you're not going to New York. New York is Babylon. That's bad." And she was right. And I think it's really interesting to look at his mother throughout this movie. I think she's actually like a pivotal character. Maybe she's God. What about that? What do you guys think about that? Maybe she is God or an angel or something. Maybe she's meant to be just like a character to help steer him in the right direction. That's another one too, then, because if everything in New York was created by him with the demons, it's by Pacino. It's like, what was the mom? Was she separate from that because she's from Florida and he had no control over her? Well, I guess it's maybe I'd like it all doesn't really make sense to me if I'm like thinking this through. Like the more I try and think about it, I'm like, wait, this doesn't even like, you know, some flawed logic. I'll explain my process. So if he's obviously his mom, well, Pacino ends up being his dad, Milton being Lomax's dad. So they had to make someone. But I'm thinking about the scene in New York when there's just nobody there. So then what is there people on the earth? Is it a fake verse or a fake universe? Who's the mom? Is she like because if he was Pacino, if she was an instrument of Milton, then wouldn't she be like, hey, like go to the law firm, I don't give a shit. But she rebels against it. So then what is her role when he wakes up or goes back to the first universe out of the mirror? Like, like maybe I should have done like a research and deep dive on this movie, but like this doesn't make sense to me, bro. I'm sorry. Um, anyways, ran over on that. So of course he goes because we wouldn't have a movie if he just stays there and wins every case by listening through the bathroom or something he does, which is scum. Like he's just not that's scum, bro. But there's cool music that plays when Milton, aka Al Pacino, first appears in the movie. So that was a cool intro to his character. Lomax gets the introduction to the Milton Towers, and he sees a Spanish-speaking girl in the red that like tweaks him out somehow. I think this was his sister that we come to find out is his sister. I didn't really understand. This was like the first one where I was like, "What is happening?" Where he's like just walking, he sees her, and she like tweaks him, and then he's like stares at her. I'm like, "What are you doing, bro? You good? Like you never seen a girl that attractive in your life? Like what's happening?" But I guess maybe she had some sort of demonic, satanic pull on him. I don't know. Yeah, so we go to the top of Milton's rooftop on the law firm. There's just no railings on the roof. That is a sign too. This is like, who would ever let this be a thing? I'd be tweaking out. All my people who are scared of heights out there, you know what I'm talking about. Like looking at this rooftop, bro. I was in a train. I was freaked. Like I hate that stuff, man. I would be tweaking out. I'd be so worried that I'd fall off. I would never even go out on that deck, if I'm being honest. Like that was crazy to me. So, of course, he officially joins the team after he gets the apartment tour as well. They have a building for him and his wife. And, of course, they love it. They want to move to New York. It's the dream. You get a nice apartment in New York across from Central Park. You do it. I've been outspoken in my opinion in New York City. I don't think it's the best city in the world. I don't know if it's top 10. Don't cover me. I'm ducking from the haters. I was just there, too. Anyways, but, of course, New York's the American dream, so he's out to New York. So we have his first case is defending this guy named Moyes, and he's in for animal abuse, and he's committing some sort of ritualistic thing with a fridge full of blood and nails. And once Lomax comes in and tells him the prosecutor's name, he like puts a spell and a demon on it. So this was like already like we're in bad. And this guy's somehow like this guy's like a trillionaire by just like illegally selling animals and stuff. Obviously, I'll respect all religions. I'm not gonna, whatever your religion, but this shit was demonic, bro. Like it was That was demonic. Anyways, so that's our intro to Moya. This is first person on his caseload. The wife back at the crib is tweaking out of the walls, and she's talking with the other wife of the character who I'm forgetting. Didn't write his name down, wrote this, or doesn't matter. Anyways, she's hanging out with the other wife, and the other wife tells her, "You can work, you can play, you can breed." Nice. Like, let's do, like, so much for women in society, like so much for the or so much for the matriarchy. Patriarchy, like, you can work, you can play, you can breed. That's your life. Okay, this is what we're signing up for. Is that, I don't know, I'm not too familiar with what Satan wants, so maybe that's like a satanic thing. Maybe that's something he wanted out there. I don't know, but this story of the wife is like, wow, this just devolves very fast. And it starts here when she's like tweaking out over the wall color. I mean, I guess that's a normal girl thing to do, or person thing to do, just tweak out about the wall color. But wow, yeah, that was an interesting scene. So of course, once everyone is settled, they need to have a party, and Milton gets to meet Lomax's wife, and yeah, he just has insane riz. He just goes up to her, says you should like switch your hair, and like just gets all up on her, and it was pretty obvious to me that they were gonna bang at some point. Come on now, making her move her hair back, just like simple stuff. You can feel the aura and the riz and the looks maxing. Sorry, of the anyways, yeah, I just knew that there was some sort of connection here. Milton definitely interested in women. Basically, seems like he just wants to bang whoever, and he will, one way or the other, as we unfortunately find out. So while they're doing that, Lomax, aka Kevin, meets with the red-haired girl from earlier, the Spanish-speaking red-haired girl, who turns out to be his sister, which now this is even a weirder scene to watch, but they're flirting on the deck, just major cheating energy. I think this is like The Firm. I think they had a cheating kind of thing in The Firm. I'm forgetting watching The Firm now, but this is solid comp to this movie is The Firm. Just no demonic aspects to it, basically. Anyways, yeah, Kevin and the red-haired girl, just mad cheating energy. You could tell already that this is not going to end well. So after the party, back to work, Kevin finds out he's got to take this Cullen case. So apparently this Cullen guy murdered his wife, stepson, and the maid, and Millen is just like, you know what, I think I'm gonna give it to you on your like third day of the job, even though we've had lawyers working here for like a million years. So turns out that this was just nepotism, but I thought maybe Lomax is just, they're trying to get him to earn his stripes, give him a test, see if he can make it in here. So while they're upstairs in his tower figuring out the case, his wife had made him promise that he wouldn't leave her during the party. And this is a dick move, bro. Like, I'm sorry, you're trying to chase the bag, you're trying to be in with your boss, but if your wife, who doesn't know a single person at the party besides like one person, is like, hey, don't leave me, it's like, what do you expect, bro? Of course she's gonna go talk to Millen. Of course she's gonna like get mad at you for leaving her. That's simple math. And I'm not gonna say what I was about to say, but like, come on, Lomax, let's do it. Anyways, not let's do it, but let's be caring. He doesn't really like care that much. I mean, obviously he loves her a lot, but it's like he lets work just absorb everything, and maybe that's a modern day problem, and I think that's definitely another theme throughout this movie. Anyways, so after this we have the girls' day. They just waste money on clothes because they'll never see their husbands, and they're trying on clothes to wear them once and then throw them out. I mean, that's pretty standard, but we get a flash of a demon. First one, I think, I was like, whoa, demon alert. And it's the wife of the first guy he met in the bar. Yeah, that was Tweaks. And now Lomax's wife starts crashing out, but she's also being pretty reasonable. And they get together, or they reunite in the apartment. They want to make love, forget everything that's happened. But he's getting visions of the red-haired girl instead of his wife. And he starts sucking toes, You do you, bro. That's all I'm gonna say on that. So Kevin's mom is making a trip to New York to visit. She has an awkward conversation with Milton, and I think this will be an interesting scene to watch back. Basically, they're all in the elevator together. Milton tries to tempt him to come with him, with the foreign girls that he has, two like very foreign girls who are very attractive, and Kevin's wife's like, "What are you doing, bro?" He ultimately decides not to. Thank God, there is some love still there. So mom is like, you know what? There's some devil here. I'm catching vibes, and she's right. So I really am curious what her position in this is. I'm sure there's some sort of deep dive, some sort of like overlook on the Bible and what it was, everything was meant, and that'll be great to look at after this review, because I think the mom may be some sort of angelic figure or some sort of godsend. I don't know. She was the only one who's clocking everything right away. It turns out. So, I mean, obviously we know the awkward interaction was because that's her man. That's father and mother. So it's like, but they never told him. It's you know what I'm saying. Anyways, so we have a Milton and Lomax going to on a trip through using the subway. Milton always uses the subway for some reason, which I'm not sure what the reason for that is, but he's an expert at the subway. So he gets in a confrontation with two Spanish speaking people, and he just grills them by having demonic abilities and knowing exactly what's happening. He's speaking them in Spanish, so Lomax doesn't understand, but he's like predicting what will happen. That's so accurate that they actually do leave and actually leave him alone, because it's scary accurate how he's just predicting like your wife's about to cheat on you in 2 seconds if you don't get off this train right now. And maybe he has that sort of power. We do see him spit or not spit, but he puts his hand into the water and causes some shit in at the end of the movie. So maybe he does have the power to make all that happen and see around the world. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Definitely assume so. So right there was our first hint, really, that, I mean, not first hint, but like first like factual thing, because he's talking in Spanish and we can see the subtitles, but obviously Lomax can't. So he's like, "What do you say to him?" He's like, just tell him to get away for their better good, whatever. But that was definitely a cool scene. So they're on a night out, basically. Kevin's wrapped up with Milton. He wants to impress his boss. He also seemingly wants to just be a bad boy and, hang out until 4 a.m. and dinners and stuff. So my boy quit cigarettes after 7 months and then just smokes one. Instant bad sign right there. Watching people break addiction's tough, but it didn't seem like he was really addicted. He was just quitting because he wanted to quit. And he's back on it now, so that's showing he's kind of letting the bad sides take over him. His bad tendencies are back. So while that is happening, Mary, his wife, is having a demon. She's having a major demon nightmare breakdown. There's a kid playing with her umbilical cord. She has bloody privates. It's just a horrible nightmare. She's tweaking to Kevin, trying to tell him everything that's happening, but of course he doesn't believe her. And this is where the break-off starts of their relationship throughout the end of this movie. And yeah, this was just weird. I guess there is some sort of horror aspects of this movie. It just, ugh, jarring scene for sure. But she's going through it. I think that was one of Milton's methods of trying to get Kevin on board, was trying to make her look crazy by doing things to her, but that only she could see, so that Kevin didn't believe her. Thinks she's going crazy. She gets put in the mental hospital, blah, blah, you understand. Anyways, Milton decides he's going to take Kevin off the murder case, because Mary is sick. And this is where I got my eyebrows raised. I was like, whoa, something's going on here. This is just an odd decision. But Kevin, I think, ends up staying on because he really wants it. He doesn't give a shit about Mary anymore. He went downhill. He led into bad habits. Basically, the rest of the movie he's going to be doing bad things besides the one thing he does at the end. Anyways, Eddie comes up to Lomax and has a confrontation with him because he's a partner already, and he thinks that Lomax is looking for his job. This was obviously just Milton using his nepotism to give his son what he wanted, fast track him to the company, move him up. He finally found him, or did he know? I think he was following him all along. So this is just, he's trying to fast track that so he can fulfill his quote unquote destiny. But Eddie is not long for this world because he's starting to realize what's happening. And then on his run, he gets beat up by demons with a sick speech from Milton, talking about how basically he sucks and we need to get him out of the company. He's not part of it. Dope monologue from Milton there for sure. So the case is wrapping up, and Cullen gets off after Kevin makes the immoral decision to call his assistant to the stand, who he knows is lying. He tries to prepare this girl to say, no, don't do this, don't do this. He knows she's lying because they prepare for it, but as a lawyer, you're supposed to, uphold the law and do the best of your ability, but not make people lie. And he sees her put her hand on the Bible and lie. So immoral decisions continue. So we come to find out that back in the psych ward, Milton fucked Mary, and I'm shocked. Nope, I saw this coming early on. I did not see that the way that would happen, though. I guess Milton um, sort of raped her. She says, I think I wanted him, but he wouldn't stop. That's, I don't know what that means. I think that's rape. That's at least sexual assault. Her body's all scratched up and scarred up. I'm Team Mary, bro. I was always Team Mary. Like, she doesn't have a job, and what can she do? She has to just sit around all day and watch paint dry. I feel bad for her. So I think that was bad, but maybe that's like, I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna say. Anyways, the funeral for Eddie takes place, and Kevin starts speaking out when he sees Cullen touching on his daughter at the funeral, or maybe I think it was his daughter, and I think so. And then the red-haired girl and the other person's wife look at each other once they realize that he's realizing. So the walls are starting to fall, and they're gonna have to tell him eventually that they're demons, and he's gotta fulfill the thing. He runs out of there. He's all tweaked out. Milton then gets up and does his holy water trick. He touches it, and then Weaver dies suddenly through a car crash. Weaver is the guy who tries to come and tell Lomax, like, hey, you got to come to the FBI. You got to tell us everything. And then all of a sudden, he's dead. And if I'm Kevin, like, alarm bells are fucking ringing, bro. This might have been a fucking, like, simulation. He can just press a button and he's dead. Is he just in a simulation from the devil? I think that's something to consider. So yeah, Weaver was trying to help him get out. He's dead, but he didn't kill Madre though. So maybe Madre's immune. Again, angelic slash what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Godsend abilities. That's my theory on that. So speaking of her, she's back in New York, and she says the same sheep line that Milton used early on in the film. So she's onto it. Mary is with Pam, one of the assistants of the firm, and she sees demons again through the mirror. Once again, this is probably Milton just like grilling through, controlling the whole world basically. And this isn't the most intense scene in the movie. Mary decides, I've had enough of these demons. It's been too much, and she kills herself with the glass. Pam didn't move and do shit. She's just standing there. This is the most obvious thing ever. Pam could have tackled her, taken the glass, tried anything. She just watches her do it. Come on, girl. Clearly, cooperation here. I guess this isn't even real Mary though, but it is a tragic scene because you think it is at the time. And yeah, R.I.P. Mary, man. She went this version of Mary in this whatever universe this is, went through it. Wow. Yeah, she just wow. I hope in the new version she has a better life, and I think she will. Maybe this thing, at least one thing out of all of this, is Kevin realizes he needs to appreciate her more and believe her more, maybe, but probably not because he's vanity and believes in himself. But what a scene here. Definitely a crazy scene for the movie, probably the most crazy scene in the movie. So finally, Kevin is realizing everything that's happening around him. He goes to confront Milton, and yeah, Milton's his dad. This was kind of surprising to me, but on a rewatch, you can definitely see the signs of it. The nepotism, especially, poking out to me as just trying to fast track him through the company. Obviously, I thought that he was undefeated in cases. They were just a hotshot lawyer. Plot armor, I don't know. I didn't understand the reason why, but now looking back on it, you can kind of see why he wanted to move him up so fast. It's because he's his son. And yeah, cool reveal for sure. Did not believe that was the case at the time when I was watching. So really cool, especially the way everything that this last couple scenes play out. So Kevin, after finding this out, has a confrontation with Milton / Lucifer. Turns out his sister is the red-haired chick. He says, I've had so many kids, so many disappointments. And yeah, it makes sense. I mean, he's banging like every girl he sees. So he wants him to make a kid, an antichrist with his sister. And not sure the math on this. I'm not going to even dive into this, but that's the legacies. They need to make a kid and basically rule the universe if they get an antichrist. Kevin decides to lean in and starts kissing her and seems to have wanted to make love to this. woman. Obviously, he's had visions of her. Obviously, he's very invested in her throughout, as we see. But he's going to shoot himself in the head. And that was definitely respect, because I thought he was just going to give into it and that was going to be it. But he pulls a reverse Uno card and shoots himself in the head. And then after that, everything breaks loose. Milton burns. The sister turns into stone. And now he's transported back to the first scene of the movie. This is the ending I was talking about. I don't really understand how any of this happened. Anyways, he's back at the beginning. Now he does the right thing. And the press member is still Lucifer, the guy who tries to tell him to back out of the case. You're sure you're doing the moral thing. But he knows that he wants to make him look good for vanity's sake. And yeah, that's end credits. And they play Paint It Black. I loved listening to Paint It Black at the end. That was a cool outro to this movie. So yeah, ending was just a little bit confusing. I like open-ended endings. I guess this was a fun ending, maybe they were setting up a second one. I don't know, it just seemed weird to me. No real closure on the storyline besides that one universe we saw, so maybe he'll convince him in another universe and the cycle will just keep continuing. That's my belief. So yeah, that'll wrap up my thoughts and reactions on Devil's Advocate. What say you guys? Please correct me in the comments. I'm sure I made a lot of dumb comments throughout this review. What did you guys think of it? Was my rating too high, too low? Yeah, so appreciate you as always. Podcast coming soon. We got Succession, tier list, Succession, the last 5 episodes coming. NFL, we're doing weekly. Penguin, Survivor, we're doing weekly. It's going to be a fucking busy fall out there on the Dubcast listener land. So appreciate you as always. And as always, keep it easy.